Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome for today's discussion, continued discussion on what do you call on this Nectar of Devotion detailed studies. So today we are at this chapter 5, the purity of devotional service. Okay, so and also today is a very auspicious day. Today is 10th July 2025, Thursday, and today is Guru Purnima, the day that Vyasadeva was appeared, Guru Purnima. No, the day that they do Guru Puja, the day for Guru Puja. At the same time, today is also beginning of this month called Chaturmasya, the 4 month, where the devotees usually fast. So it is advisable that for this first month of this Chaturmasya, starting from today to next Paurnami, it is advised that we don't take green vegetable. Okay, anything green vegetable, spinach, and all these kind of things. So or shang, as they go shak or something like that. So it is advisable that we become we abstain ourselves from not taking greeny vegetable. Okay, that's for today. And also Hare Krishna Jiva, very nice. So at the same time, it is also advisable that today we take a little vow. The vow means we try to do something that we like to do, but not doing it this month, these 3 months. Okay, like example, my friend told me that he's taking a vow not to take rice, right? Abstain from rice for 4 months. Okay, so or this what they call, or this or be on Ekadasi diet. Like that, there is some people like to take a vow. Okay, but what I suggest is that we take a vow that we're going to chant our minimum 16 rounds very diligently for these 4 months. That means before this, maybe we are chanting, maybe we are like walking, chanting, not these things. So maybe these 4 months but what I suggest is that you do your 16 rounds in one sitting. All right, one sitting in an isolated place. So that means every day you make a vow that 2 hours is your time with you, your exclusive appointment with Srimati Radharani. You stay with her and you're going to chant your 16 rounds diligently without any kind of this thing hindrance. All right, maybe we can start like that. But those who are chanting more, you can also set your standard maybe to go more. Okay, we are chanting 16. Maybe we can target to go maybe 20, 25 rounds. If you're doing 25, maybe you can think about, consider the possibility of going maybe 30 rounds, something like that. Okay. So this is the time that all your spiritual, what they call, desires can be fulfilled. Okay. So on this day, of course, yesterday I said that let's do the class every day. And many devotees personally message me, says that daily cannot be won't be a it's going to be a tough thing for them. Okay, now வந்து ஆர்வ கோளாறுல I say, oh, you do every day. So I thought, okay, I want to take a commitment to do every day, but it's okay. We just maintain Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. All right, but of course last Friday I didn't do the class, and last Friday, Monday, and Wednesday, so 3 days was a gap. Okay, so I replace today, tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow Friday we have class, and next week we try to do Monday, Tuesday. So we just like fill up the gap that we have left open. Okay, now, so before we go through this thing, so today is a Guru Purnima. So today is the day that you should worship your spiritual master. Of course, we worship our spiritual master every day, but today is the day that we worship our spiritual master with so much of attention, affection. Okay, the spiritual master is a very unique person. The spiritual master is the person who do not give us suggestion, who do not console us. All right, he's the person who gives us instruction. He gives instruction. The duty of a spiritual master is simply giving instruction. And all the instruction of the spiritual master is basically to take us back home, back to Godhead. That is the ultimate goal. So in order for you to take the instruction, to execute the instruction, you should first of all must know how to play the game. You must know how to do it. All right. So, like for instance, a soldier is well trained, then after that sent to the war field. All right. And the soldier doesn't simply use his whatever intelligence, the art of fighting and all this, he don't use. He simply take instruction from the captain. When the captain says go that way, you go that way. When the captain says go this way, you go this way. Like that. Like that, we take instruction from the captain. All right. So in order to do that, the captain says now you go there and aim and ambush. So that means you must know the art of fighting, art of shooting, and there's some intelligence how to do it. So similarly, that's a job of a spiritual master, that a spiritual master actually give us instruction, and the spiritual master's ultimate desire is to see us going back home, back to Godhead. Okay, they sacrifice their life. They sacrifice their life, and they don't have any private life. And the spiritual masters, especially, they don't have a place to stay, especially like sannyasis. They don't stay in one place for more than 3 days. They have to be always on the move, you know. So they have taken such a big sacrifice in life, and they made a big sacrifice. And day and night, their meditation is, how can I bring my disciple back home, back to Godhead? என்னை நம்பி வந்துட்டாங்க. என்னை நம்பி வந்துட்டாங்க. கண்ணை மூடிக்கிட்டு வந்துட்டாங்க. பிகாஸ் நம்ம நம்ம ஆன்மீக குரு இருக்கும்போது, நம்மளுக்கு வந்து பார்க்கணும்னு கூட அவசியம் இல்ல. கேட்கணும்னு கூட அவசியம் இல்ல. கண்ணு தெரிஞ்சா என்ன? காது கேட்டா என்ன? பேச தெரிஞ்சா ஆல் தட் ஆர் நத்திங். பிகாஸ் நம்ம வந்து நம்ம ஆத்ம ரீதியா, உடல் ரீதியா எல்லாமே பகவான் நம்ம ஆன்மீக குருக்கு சரணாகதி அடைஞ்சிட்டோம். We have surrendered everything to him. And he will use as he wish. அப்ப when you really look at it, I mean, this is the things that so when we surrender everything, the spiritual master is in anxiety. நான் எப்படி இவனை கரை சேர்க்க போறேன்? இவன் தத்தளிச்சுக்கிட்டு இருக்கானே, எப்படி இவனை கரை சேர்க்க போறேன்? How am I supposed to bring him back home, back to Godhead? And that is his meditation day and night. And he's so much of compassion because he sacrificed his life just to take us back home, back to Godhead. They could just simply practice their sadhana bhakti and they can go back. But they have taken a huge sacrifice. You know, they sacrifice their family, they sacrifice their life, their comfort, their happiness, good food, everything they sacrifice. And they are always on the move. In other words, they are always standing on their toes. You know, when you stand like this, is okay. But when you stand on the toes, how? Can you keep on standing like a belly dancer? You can't do that. So they are always standing on their toes and always thinking, how am I supposed to deliver my disciples? நம்பி வந்துட்டாங்க, அவங்கள கரை சேர்க்கிறது என்னோட கடமை. ஆனா எப்படி அதை கரை சேர்க்க போறேன், எப்படி இவங்களெல்லாம் வந்து வழிகாட்ட போறேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு அவங்க வந்து எப்பவுமே அந்த anxietyல, and only thing that they have is to they pray to their spiritual master saying that I have accepted this much of disciple, you know, please kindly guide them. And of course they pray to Krishna, please help them. So அதனால today is the day Guru Purnima, a very exclusive day. On this today we dedicate our prayers, our gratitude, our mind, our intelligence, everything to the lotus feet of spiritual master. சரியா? Let's do our invocation. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapidam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swaparantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Uttaparakamlam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagar Jadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savaduta Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine Namacharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayine Gaurakada Damadaya Nagara Grama Tarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvashesha Shunyavadi Pasachari Satarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshapanavi Devi Daitai Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Viknanadaine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryo Jala Premadya Sri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute. Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dina Tarini. Rupanuga Viruda Pasita Tarini. Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye. Vipralambara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha. Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine. Gaura Shakti Sarupa Rupanuga Varayate. Gaura Virbhava Bhume Stamni Dasa Sajjana Priya. Vaishnava Sarubhauma Sri Jagannathaya Te Namaha. Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Paditanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Om Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Garadasya Namaha. Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavadaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Shri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Om Tat Sat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right, so let's continue our discussion today. So, in the connection of Sri Rupa Goswami, right? That's the place, right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Right. In this connection, Sri Rupa Goswami gives evidence in this connection. Oh, no wonder lah. I couldn't find it. Right. Sure. All right. So let's move on. Okay. So where were we reading? Okay. So in 1.2.63, okay, we understood that apicha ananustan nato dosho bhaktya anganam prajayate na karmanam akarat esha bhakti adhikarinam. So here Rupa Goswami warns, right? Rupa Goswami is giving warning. However, that if a person is properly initiated by bona fide spiritual master, he should not think that he simply by accepting such initiation, his business is over. All right. So once we have accepted an initiation from a spiritual master, it's not to say, okay, we are already going back home, back to Godhead. Like sometimes people are speculating, oh, I'm initiated. So once you're initiated, you're going back. It's our business is over. No, it's not that. One still, even though that still has to follow the rules and regulation very carefully. All right. If after accepting the spiritual master, and being initiated, one does not follow the rules and regulation of devotional service, then is again considered fallen. Right? Is still considered fallen. One must be very vigilant. So the word is vigilant, we should highlight. We should be very vigilant. That means we should be very careful, all right, very alert to remember that he is part and parcel of the transcendental body of Krishna. Okay, we should always remember, we should always be vigilant that we are actually part and parcel of the transcendental body of Krishna, that it is his duty as part and parcel to give service to the whole. Okay, that is his duty. All right, the example I gave last week was, say like this hand, the hand cannot act independently. The hand cannot say, I am working, my hand is doing, money received from here, the fruits are plucked from here, these fingers, this hand. Okay, I do all the things. Okay, but the thing is, go through the stomach, go through the mouth. right? I take the thing and put into the mouth, right? The hand cannot act independently. The hand must be part of this complete body. If the hand is acting independently, means that means it's considered like paralysis. All right, a person goes paralyzed, one hand paralyzed, the hand cannot be moved, useless. The hand will be like acting independently. You cannot hold the hand will be like, I'll lie you. So hands, the means like that. So that means we should always remember that we are part and parcel of the transcendental body of Krishna. So as a anga of that body, it is also our duty is to give the service to the whole of Krishna. Okay, it's the anga of this hand. The hand you should serve everything, from scrubbing my hair, from writing, from eating. The hand should there. So the hand should always engage in the service. Okay. If we do not render service to Krishna, then again we fall down. Okay, but when we do that, we don't do that. We are also considered still fallen. In other words, simply becoming initiated does not elevate one to a position of high-class Brahmana. We must always remember this, right? Simply after accepting initiation, we are not considered that we can go to the level of high-class Brahmana. Okay, one still has to discharge his duties and follow the regulative principle very rigidly. All right, so that's a quick recap what we have read last week. All right. So again, he says, Sri Rupa goes say, if they want regularly discharging devotional service, there'll be no question of fall down. If regularly discharging devotional service, it is not whenever you feel like it. All right, there'll be no question of falling down. Okay, but even due to some circumstances, a person fall down. All right, if say due to some bad luck or certain situation, he falls down. Okay, because நம்ம என்ன சொல்றோம், மனிதன் சூழ்நிலை கைதி. நம்மளுக்கு வந்து எப்பப்ப என்னென்ன நடக்குது கூட தெரியாது. If say suddenly something like that. Okay, so if say that some kind of fall down happen. Okay, so for this kind of Vaishnava, they do not need to do prayaschitta. Okay, பரிகாரம்லாம் ஒன்றும் செய்ய தேவையில்லைன்னு சொல்றாங்க. All right. Okay. All right. Okay, now let's start our today's program. So it's referring from 11th canto, chapter 21, text 2. It's re-quoted at East Ocean, second sea, second wave, text 65. Ataikadashe sve sve dikkareya nishta saguna parikirtita viparyasyastu doshashat ubayor esha nischayaha. In this connection, Rupa Goswami gives evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so Rupa Goswami is now quoting evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 21st chapter, verse 2, in which Lord Krishna says to Uddhava. Okay, it's a discussion between Lord Krishna and Uddhava. He says the distinction means what? A very obvious difference. Okay, distinction between qualification and disqualification. Okay, the clear difference or the distinction between qualification and disqualification can be made in this way. It can be said like this: person who are already elevated in discharging devotional service will never again take shelter to the process of fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. All right, so they say what we understand from here. So he says, if a person who are already elevated means what? Already elevated. The word elevated. Okay, elevated means what? That means those who are progressed, those who have already progressed. It's not no more in the first level. They are already progressed. That means they're already achieving. They're progressing very well. Elevated in what? In performing devotional service. Will never again. They will never again go back to the process of fruitive activities, karma kanda. They will never go back to the fruitive activities. All right, or philosophical speculation. All right, so that means once the person have achieved the level of karma, success, they will definitely not go back to fruitive activities. If one sticks to devotional service, If one stick to devotional service and is conducted by regulative principle. What? Conducted. That means you perform using some principle, which is regulated. We must always remember that. If one sticks, says sticks, right? To devotional service. Okay. And he follow by regulative principle. The principle which comes with the regulation, not simply speculation. So the regulation which is given by our acharyas, our gurus, right? Not simply concocting a new idea or creating some new kind of ideology, right? So that's the thing. So that means given by principle, which is conducted. Okay, you perform it by regulative principle, given by the authorities, acharyas, and acharyas. That is the best qualification. That is the best qualification. Okay. So our Srila Prabhupada was so merciful. By standard, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, if you don't chant 64 rounds, you are fallen. Are you all following me on this? If you don't chant 64 rounds, you are fallen. At the same time, it's also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's mentioned. Lord Chaitanya says, I do not eat in the house of those who don't chant minimum 1 lakh, Lakshanama, 100,000 names. So the 100,000 names is actually 64 rounds. One round got one name, got one mantra, got 16 names. Hare Krishna. 4 Hare, no, 8 Hare, 4 Krishna, 4 Rama. Total, what they call, 16 words. And that 16 you times by 108. Okay. And times by 64. Okay. So, and then the qualification and all this, when you see, it is more around 100,000 names. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you don't chant 100, if you don't chant 64 rounds, you are fallen. I don't accept your offering. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Okay. In Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada says, if you don't chant 64 rounds, you are fallen. But our merciful Prabhupada came to West. And he said, when the disciples were struggling to chant 64, because he was in a mission, he said, never mind, do your minimum 16 rounds. Right? Minimum 16 rounds and carry on with your devotional service. Because performing, if like for some, 64 rounds take the whole day to chant. It takes the whole day. Right? It takes the whole day. But of course, once you become good at it, you can do it within 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Right? There's some devotees who attempt to do 200,000 names. Okay? Or 64 times 2, 128 rounds. Okay? So, like Haridas Thakur, he chants 192 rounds, 64 times 3. So, when you calculate 5 minutes per mantra, it's going to take you 16 hours. You have to go on chanting 16 hours. So, Prabhupada, what he did, say chant 16 rounds. The others, after the 16 rounds, the balance of the time, you engage fully in Krishna consciousness. That also called Nama Bhajan. Nama Bhajan is not just sit in one place and sing, but even executing the devotional service. Sankirtan. One day you go out to the field and hit the street for 10 hours. You chant 2 hours, you hit the street for 10 hours. Then come back, you do deity worship. Then come back, then after that you cook. So you're taking at least 16 hours. So you're considered doing that kind of seva. All right. But at the same time, when you look at another, this thing says, if you wake up early in the morning, Mangala Arati, every mantra that you chant is times by 4. Every mantra. One mantra you say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It's considered chanted 4 rounds. Four types. So if you could able to do your 16 rounds during Mangala Arati, you are considered chanted 64 rounds. All right. So like that, that's it. So, but our property, never mind, you all take your distinct, go and engage yourself. So for young people, for those who are young or starting in devotional service, they can start with 16 rounds, fair enough. But for old people, middle class and old, as we get older, our commitment getting reduced. All right. We should always strive. We should always try to engage our mind, because sometimes I see like even like Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu at that very advanced age, his mind is still very clear and alert. Certain things I forget, he can still remind me. That means very clear mind, alert. Because usually at that age, people around 60 plus itself, they become nyanyo. Nyanyo means they become dementia. They start to forget things. They don't know what they're doing. All right. Because that's why to keep the mind healthy and intelligent healthy, we should always chant our rounds and read. So like that, we can keep ourselves alert. Even we become like our Mahadev that turned 100 today. Even at that age, still we can remain alert. Right? So that's a qualification that is given by the authority, the best qualification. So what Prabhupada did 16 rounds, we accept it as one of the best things. Right? So Pratame 1.5.17 quoted by 1.2.66. Tyakta swadharmam charanam bujam harir bhajana pakpota pate tato yadi yatra kva va badram abut amushyakim ko vartapto bhajatam swadharmataha. This statement is supported by Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st Canto, 5th chapter, text 17, wherein who is speaking Narada Muni advising Vyasadeva. Right? This is all at the 1st Canto. 1st Canto, you can see the discussion between the Narada Muni and Vyasadeva. All right. And Narada Muni advises. What advises means what? He advises. What does that mean? So Narada Muni's disciple is Vyasadeva. Okay. So Narada Muni's disciple is Vyasadeva. So now Narada Muni is advising. All right. So Vyasadeva says, even if one does not execute his specific occupational duty. Okay. Even a person, see, in Bhagavad Gita, we understand. Arjuna do not want to do his prescribed duty. The prescribed duty means what? The duty that has been assigned to you. Like when you go to the medicine doctor, they give you prescription. The food, the medicine that has been given to you, not to others. You cannot go and share your medicine. Hey, you're coughing like me, come and take my medicine. No such thing. It is for you and only for you. There's no sharing. Prescription. Okay. Similarly, is a prescribed duty means the duty that has been prescribed to you is a prescription. So Arjuna doesn't want to fight. He gave a lot of lame excuses. We call it lame excuses. But if we are at that situation, we should have fainted. Right? So this prescribed duty has been given. Now we are sitting here, in the Zoom platform and telling, no, Arjuna was giving a lame excuse. Yeah. Even some little problem itself, I struggle to face. And imagine Arjuna was put in a greatest anxiety. The people that he loved is standing right in front of him to kill him. Right? Kill or to be killed. That's a warfare. Right? So he wanted to become a yogi. He wanted to give up everything. So that's the thing. So what Krishna says, you must do your prescribed duty, your occupational duty. Okay. But now as we Kali Yuga, we are getting this thing. But now if there is a scenario, that if one does not execute his specific occupation duty, specifically what is your job and you are not doing it, but immediately take direct shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, Hari. So for them, there is there will be no fault on his part. And in all circumstances, his position is secure. Okay, his position. So now he says, when you are not doing your prescribed duty, okay, but you go and take shelter. Like sometimes we see that young people who are married, they say, they give up their wife and children, take sannyasi. Right? So like that. So, so that means they are not doing their specific prescribed duty, but immediately take direct shelter. So the word that we should highlight here is this. Okay. The word that we should highlight here is this. He said, one does not, okay, but immediately take direct shelter. Right? It takes direct shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. So what does it mean by direct shelter? That means immediately you go and there's no indirect shelter also, right? It's direct. When it's raining, you see a bus stop, you rush to the bus stop and just enter into the bus stop to take shelter. You cannot stand in between the bus stop, half wet, half dry. Either you're in or out. So when you take a direct shelter, immediately by direct shelter, the lotus was no hurry. For them, there will be no fault. There will be no fault. Okay. But the thing is, we should always remember that we don't take the statement, what they call, whimsically. I'm a lazy fella. I cannot take care of my wife. I cannot take care of my children. I simply go, I give up my wife and children. I go to surrender. Not that way. Right? So, this is, you must, okay, now I've taken shelter, so I don't do anything. I simply sit and eat, enjoying Mahaprashadam and making your belly become so big like Vinayagar belly. Right? Eating and eating, sleeping, eating. Simply stay in the temple and do nothing, just eat and just perform this. No, that's not the way. Right? So we should always remember, after we take the direct shelter, we should actively involve. All right. So in all circumstances, but then that means there will be no fault on his part, and in all circumstances, his position is secure. Of course, he's secure. All right. But now Krishna says, even by some bad association. All right. Suddenly, some thing he come during the bad association, he falls down while executing devotional service. Even due to some bad association, he falls down. Unfortunate. Or he doesn't finish the complete course of devotional service and dies untimely. So that means his heaven complete is quota. He have taken, that means he got some program, project, and he haven't finished it. அதாவது பக்தியை முழுமையா செய்யல. Alright? அதே நேரத்துல ஒரு 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 மனிதன் சூழ்நிலை கைதின்றல, திடீர்னு ஒரு சூழ்நிலையில அவர் என்ன பண்றாரு, தவறான ஒரு தவறான நட்பை வச்சு தவறிட்டாருன்னு வச்சுக்கோ, தவறி விழுந்துட்டாரு. ஓகே, இந்த மாதிரி சூழ்நிலை நடந்தா, வாட் கிருஷ்ணா சேஸ், ஸ்டில் ஹி இஸ் நாட் அட் அ லாஸ். இப்படி இருந்தா கூட அவன் வந்து இழக்கிறதுக்கு எதுவுமே இல்லை. A person who is simply discharging his occupational duty in varna and ashrama, however, with no Krishna consciousness, particularly does not gain the benefit of human life. Right? So those who are not following the varna ashram, that means those who are strictly follow varna ashram. Right? I born into this particular family and I perform this particular job. Okay, varna. Ashram means I am a grasta. I bring up my children very nicely. All my children are well behaved. All my children are disciplined. All my children are educated. All right? But sometimes we see, right, the family, the parents who bring up the children, பிள்ளைங்க எடுத்த இடத்துல வைப்போங்க. வீடு சுத்த பத்தமா வச்சுக்கோங்க. இந்த மாதிரி பிள்ளை கிடைக்கிறது, இந்த மாதிரி பிள்ளை நம்மளுக்கு கிடைச்சா அப்படி இருந்திருக்கணும். அவ்வளோ அருமையான பிள்ளைங்க. இந்த மாதிரி சூழ்நிலை வர்ணத்திலையும் சரி, ஆசிரமத்தையும் சரி, கரெக்டா அவன் பிள்ளைய கொண்டு வந்தாலும் சரி. But he does not surrender to Krishna. But despite all this, he does not, but with no Krishna consciousness. With no Krishna consciousness. So, இந்த மாதிரி Allah does not gain anything. வாழ்க்கையில எதுவுமே சாதிக்க போறதில்லை. right? So பிள்ளைங்களை முறைப்படி கரெக்டா டிசிப்ளினா வளர்க்குறோம்னு சொல்றதோட வளர்த்து நல்லதுதான், வர்ணாசிரம் நல்லதுதான். ஆனா but when you don't add Krishna, the ingredient Krishna in your life, it is also a wasted, it is just another waste of human life, right? The purpose is that at all conditioned souls who are all the conditioned soul who are engaged in frantically in activities of sense gratification. Frantically என்ன தெரியுமா? பதற்றமா, frantically engage, பதற்றமா வந்து புலன் இன்பத்துல வந்து தத்தளிச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோம், அனுபவிச்சுட்டு இருக்காங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோம், without knowing that this process will never help. இவர் செய்யற இந்த தத்தளிப்புக்கு இது வந்து உதவி செய்யாதுன்னு புரியாம நடந்துக்கிறது. Without knowing that this process will never help them to get out of this material contamination are awarded only with repeated birth and death. So இந்த மாதிரி நபர்களுக்கு வந்து மறுபிறவி, மறு ஜென்மம் இந்த மாதிரி தான் கிடைக்கும். Right? So that means they still go on being born again and die again. Right? So in the fifth canto Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated where in the fifth canto. Please underline all this statement, because one day when you're going to read Srimad Bhagavatam, this can be your reference. So what do you see in Srimad Bhagavatam 5th canto? Clearly stated by who? By Rishabhadev. Rishabhadev, and he told to you, he spoke to his sons. He says, person engaged in fruitive activities are repeatedly accepting birth and death. That's it. Very simple. Right? So, those who are engaged in fruitive activities, புலன் இன்பம், புலன் இதுல வந்து activity இருந்தா, what they're going to get, they are repeatedly accepting accepting birth and death until they develop loving feeling for Vasudeva. Until they can get the loving feeling for Vasudeva, there will be no question of getting out from this stringent law of material nature. Until then, we cannot come out from the stringent law of material nature. The material nature is very strict. At the same time, the material nature is merciless. The material nature is so merciless. It is a place that you are thrown here and you will be punished very severely. I got an awareness, I'm always love to observe things. When my daughter was admitted, all right, she was admitted in the children ward, and besides her is a baby. All the children ward, all the baby were newborn, all were there, right? So, no, it's a children. There's another one, but this side is all pediatrics, all the children. There was one 3 months or 6 months old child or something like that, having a phlegm on the lungs, phlegm. And the physiotherapist came, put the baby upside down and keep hitting the back to loosen the phlegm so the phlegm will come out. The way the child was crying, my God, it's intolerable. Then there's another child who are born. That means they have that child. I went and see the babies there, and I saw the way that babies are screaming and crying. We are saying they are crying, but for them it is, alas, they still fall back into this material world. There's frantically they were crying, and that's the cry that we are all actually crying. But after that, I see the nurse took and just pet the baby, tap here, tap there, just hold the baby and child. Somehow or other, the child became pacified. The child kept quiet. So we are here in this material world. The Maya Devi, the mother nature, is tapping hers and says, no, don't worry, my child, you are okay. I have given you all these toys around for you to play. You are fine. Don't worry, you are okay. So until we start to forget our constitutional nature, we are, and that's the time that I was just, while meditating on this topic, another thought came to my mind. We are all animals in a slaughterhouse. When you see the slaughterhouse, who, like for instance, lembu daging, right? Or ayam daging, something like that. So there we understand all that animals there will be killed one day. So they all stay in their what they call in their shelter. What do you call that? Matu tavade. In English, what they call cow barn. They will stay in the barn. Tavadila irukanga. There will be a father cow, mother cow. And through them, they will have a calf. And the calf will be like jumping and playing. The father will be taking delight, and the mother will be like smiling, looking at the calf, and become very overwhelmed and start to produce a lot of milk. And they were so happily playing and dancing around. The owner of that, the farmer comes and just specify and tap and says, "Don't worry, all you are assured." But they forgot, the cows have forgotten that eventually, any time that they will go through the abattoir, they will be killed for the meat. So, like that. So, we all must remember this this is a stringent material nature. And like a child, we are all crying in helplessly, just like the child. You know, when I saw the baby crying, the tongue was vibrating, the tongue was vibrating, screaming, "Save me, save me." But the nurse pacified. We are all like that. We are all screaming. We are thinking we are living in this material world. Okay, we are not no more in hell. And no, in every part of this, from Brahma to hell, from Satyaloka to Yamaloka, this is only the same situation: repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. Right? And that time, suddenly they ring one button. Right? They ring a button. Suddenly, alarm went off. Woo, 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 woo. And I was thinking, what is happening now? Then there's an operator was speaking over the. I thought it's like a fire alarm. Ooh, ooh, like that. And suddenly there's a mic, a speaker on that. Say, CCU code blue, CCU code blue. CCU code blue. Repeating again, CCU code blue. I was thinking, what is that CCU code blue? CCU means cardiac care unit. Someone having a cardiac, those who are cardiac will there. Code blue means the patient fainted. And all the person in charge on that time, they have to rush. And I was there at the front. You know, I was reading some books, at the counter. Suddenly, and I saw everybody was running here and there. Then I was going up to my daughter's ward, and I saw a friend of mine. He looked so haggard. I couldn't recognize him. Then I looked at him. I said, "Looks like I know you." "Yeah, I'm this and this. Oh, yeah. Why, are you okay or not?" They said, there's a washroom there you can use, because he came. Can I use that washroom? He was in that delirious situation. Of course, when you see a mark on the toilet front, a male and female, it's obvious you can go in. You do not need to ask anyone whether I can use the toilet. But when I was passing by, he just called me, "Excuse me, sir, excuse me, brother." I said, "Yes. Can I use the toilet?" "Obviously, you can use the toilet." I said, "You look familiar." He said, "I'm so." I said, "Why? Are you okay or not?" "No, my mother-in-law, very serious. She's in CCU now. No, she's admitted. They're trying our best to save." So, so at that moment, what happened? The code blue is actually for the mother-in-law. All right. Eventually, she passed away that night. But after hearing all these things, the mother-in-law won't make it any time. When he say that, he was so delirious until he need to ask me whether he can use the toilet or not. Just give me a second. I couldn't get a handkerchief. Sorry. Suddenly starts sneezing. Right. He was so delirious. Right. Asking for a way whether I can use the toilet. But after I got into the ward, there's a door, of course, children ward, nobody allowed. So I have to get the thing. I went in. I saw a man. He was so happy. Right? He was so happy. And he was at like aquarium, this thing, the big, this thing, and he's just looking. And I passed through. I said, you look very happy today. Oh, I got a son. I got a child. That's my baby. Oh, really? Congratulations. You know, which one? That one, a boy or girl? Ah, I think it's a boy. Then I say, yes, when they wrap with the blue thing is boy, pink means girl. Then I said, how about you? What are you doing here? I said, then I said, I'm here because my daughter is here anyway. Then I went back to the ward. I was just thinking, a thin layer of door separating a two extreme situation. A thin door, which should be what? 3-4 inches thick. When I came, I talked to that person who was distressed. I opened the door and I saw a person who was very happy. Just a thin 4 inches door separate two different extreme worlds. One person who are extremely distressed and delirious, and other side, a person who are extremely happy and so much in gratefulness. That is what this natural law that I realized. So the word is the stringent law, the material universe, material nature. Okay, the Prakriti, it is very, that's when I start to realize the Prakriti is something very, very, very merciless. She don't have mercy upon us. She will somehow or other will give us extreme joy for a second, so that prepare you for extreme pain that is coming forward. So, as what we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Rishabhadev is telling his son, Rishabhadev is the avatar of Krishna, Vishnu. He's telling, when a person engage in fruitive activities, right, being a karmi, working hard, working this, what they get, they're only going to get repeated birth and death. They just go on getting the repeated birth and death. We can say repeated birth and death looks so nice, but the intensity we cannot tolerate. The intensity. It's so real, sure real. Right? Except in birth and death. So until they develop loving feeling for Vasudev. So where do we stand, my dear Prabhus and mothers? So now we have been going through this kind of pathetic life. Being born and die in varieties of living entities, varieties of species. Once we are born as a pig, once also we born as a worm in the stool. We have taken all the birth, all the things that you see around, we have taken that birth. But until they develop loving feeling for Vasudeva, the thing is what? Loving feeling. So the love feeling means what? Sometimes when we are under depressed, distress, and all these things, the music plays a very important part to revive our mood. The music plays an important part. And when you see all the songs, 99% of the songs created all based on love. Of course, they are talking love, but it's lust. But love is the adipadai. So based on love. Huh? So when they start to sing the love, that means from the first day that Tamil cinema started until today, they can just go on describe love and love and love. They can just go on singing about love. Of course, motivation and others is 1%. Then like even in English song, like my favorite, though we got to say goodbye to the summer, darling, I miss you. These, all love songs. So when you see someone, you feel like singing and dancing, right? When you start to feel singing and dancing. So the word that Rishabhadev is saying, until they develop loving feeling. So loving feeling means what? Not to say simply go to say, Krishna, I love you. Or suddenly we just take a deity or an idol of Lord Krishna, like a bomme. We start to conjure and, hey baby, choo 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 choo. No. The loving feeling means what? First, when you want to go into that kind of loving feeling, first, You fall in love. When we fall in love means what? When you fall in love with a person, what does that mean? You are dedicating, you are ready to give up everything for that person. Caste, creed, opulence. We have seen a girl from a very rich family can marry a poor man. A very rich guy can give up the father's asset, property, everything just simply to marry a middle class girl. We have seen that. That is called falling in love. So now, as the statement is loving feeling, how we can understand that? Loving feeling. So that means we have to fall in love with Krishna. So when we fall in love with Krishna, then you start to read about it. This again reminds me, this hospital stay for the last 4 days. I was there the whole day, right? So many realization I start to, because I start to see in this thing. The two nurses, especially one particular nurse came and this thing became so friendly. And she asked, what are you wearing these? Is this tilak, they call it? Yes. Then I say, you look like a very intelligent girl. And I think I would love to give you a Bhagavad Gita in English. Suddenly she was like awe-stricken. You want to give me a Bhagavad Gita in English? I say, yes. Tomorrow I'll get it for you. He said, you know what? I've been thinking about studying Bhagavad Gita all this while. I've been to all the, wherever I go attachment, in any hospital attachment, she's a nurse, a trainee nurse attachment. The first thing is, I go to the library. And second thing, once I go to the library, I'll be searching for Bhagavad Gita. Looks like there's no Bhagavad Gita available in any of the library. I've been searching in all over Para. All right. So, and next day, when I went and gave the Bhagavad Gita, she took the Bhagavad Gita full of excitement, in great ecstasy, that eventually she started tearing. She started tearing. You know, she's as though like crying already. She said she was holding the Gita to the heart and just holding it, hugging. So that is what called loving feeling. It is not simply I become a devotee of Krishna. No. He said, develop a loving feeling, develop it. Until they develop, it is something that it's within you. Like for instance, now your body is there, but I can go to the gym, I can develop muscles. It's there. So the loving feeling is there in your heart. You have to develop it. Very important. You develop the loving feeling. How? By singing, by dancing, by chanting, especially the songs of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. It's intense love and separation. Loknath Das, right? And all you see, when you see all the songs of Acharyas, it is amazing. Singing, dancing, okay, and chanting. All these things are the way to develop the loving feeling. Okay, so when we do that, then Rishabhadev continue. There'll be no question of getting out from this stringent law of material nature. If we can't do this, you can't come out of this place. So the rules is we have to develop loving feeling. Feeling, nothing more than feeling. Feeling. It is not a kind of matter. It is not a transaction. It is not official. It is emotion. It is feeling. You have to create that kind of feeling. If you can do that, even how stringent the law can be, how nasty the material nature can be, how horrible the environment and people can be, you can go all above that. Right? You are above all this. Say, like, for instance, when a person fall in love for a first time, anything that happens around that couple, unknown. Any one of you got experienced this before? Put a thumbs up. Anyone? All right. Anyone else? only Jiva, young men. Others forgotten, is it?
திருப்பி சொல்லுங்க பிரபு, திருப்பி சொல்லுங்க.
இல்ல யாராவது முத வந்து ஃபால் இன் லவ் பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா? காதலிச்சிருக்கீங்களா? முத காதல்.
ஆமா பிரபு.
அப்ப அந்த காதலிக்கும் போது எப்படி இருந்துச்சு? நீங்க வந்து லவ் மேரேஜா அரேஞ்ச் மேரேஜா சகி?
லவ் மேரேஜ் தான் பிரபு. பட்டர்ஃப்ளை மாதிரி பறக்கிற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சு.
அப்ப பக்கத்துல இருக்கிறது எதுவுமே கண்ணுக்கு தெரியல தானே?
தெரியல பிரபு, ஒண்ணுமே தெரியல.
பக்கத்துல ஆம்புலன்ஸ் போதா, அது போதா, எவன் வரான் போறான். உலகமே இருண்டாச்சுதே.
ஆமா,
கண்ணுக்கு தெரிஞ்சது சஸ்வதா மட்டும்தான். வேற யாரும் தெரியல, ரைட்?
இடம்லாம் சஸ்வத பிரபு தான் தெரிஞ்சுச்சு.
அதே போலதான். நம்ம எப்ப காதலிக்க ஆரம்பிக்கிறோமோ, once we fall in love, சுத்தி இருக்கிற இந்த இயற்கை எவ்வளவு கொடூரமான இயற்கையா இருந்தாலும் நம்ம கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாது. So in English, if we fall in love, even how nasty, how crazy this material nature can be around us, it is can't be seen because you have fallen in love. But what to do? This falling in love in a human life is only temporary. அந்த நேரத்துல காதலிக்கும் டக்குன்னு பேர் மனசு அப்படியே அலைப்பாயும் அப்படி செய்யும் பட்டர்ஃப்ளை எல்லாம் பறக்கும். அப்புறம் அதுக்கப்புறம் when you become familiar, you don't have that feeling anymore. Like you can't even remember. Okay? ஆனா Krishna's love is not like that. Krishna is eternal. The love is eternal. The moment that you fall in love with Krishna, that fall in love stays eternal. So in that feeling, the horrible material nature, it is exists but cannot be seen. புரியுதா? அந்த காதல் மயக்கத்துல இருந்தாதான் இந்த இயற்கையோட கொடூரம் நம்மளுக்கு கண்ணுக்கு தெரியாது. அந்த மயக்கத்திலிருந்து தெளிஞ்சிட்டோம்னா, ஐயோ கொடூரமான இடத்துல நம்ம வாழ்றோம்னு அப்பதான் நம்ம உணருவோம். ஆனா நம்ம பௌதிக வாழ்க்கையில வந்துட்டு இந்த காதல் மயக்கம் கொஞ்ச நேரம் தான். பாக்குறோம், சந்திக்கிறோம், கண்ணும் கண்ணும் அவனும் நோக்கினான், இவளும் நோக்கினாள், கண்ணும் கண்ணும் நோக்கியாவா சம்திங். சோ பார்த்து கொஞ்ச நேரம் தான். then you fall in love. அப்புறம் கொஞ்ச நாள் வெளியே போறோம், குளிச்ச மாதிரி இருக்காது, சாப்பிட்ட மாதிரி இருக்காது, கொஞ்ச நேரம் தான். அதுக்கப்புறம் ரியாலிட்டி வில் கிக் இன். ஆனா அதே ஆன்மீக வாழ்க்கையில் அப்படி இல்லை. கிருஷ்ணரை காதலிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சோம்னா அந்த காதல் வந்து நிரந்தரமான காதல், நிரந்தரமான மயக்கம், நிரந்தரமான மயக்கம். அந்த கிருஷ்ணா மயக்கத்துல நம்ம இருக்கும்போது இந்த இயற்கையோட கொடூரம் நம்ம கண்ணுக்கே தெரியாது. நம்மளுக்கு ரெண்டு சாய்ஸ் தான் இருக்கு. either you do this or you don't do this. That's it. You do this, the stringent material nature can't be seen, can be overlooked. You're not even bothered. But not this, you have to face the horrible consequences of this material nature. As such, any person who is seriously engaged in this occupational duty, in this varna and ashrama, and who does not develop love, he's not saying develop fear. Prabhupada is not mentioning பயத்தை உருவாக்கு, பகவானை பார்த்தா கண்ணத்துல தட்டிக்க, பகவான் பெரிய ராஜா, ராஜாதி ராஜா, ராஜா மார்த்தாண்ட, ராஜ கம்பீர, இந்த ஜெகத்க்கு அரசன். ஓகே, பயம் வேணாம். பகவானை கண்டு நம்ம பயப்பட தேவையில்லை. ஏன்னா நம்ம பயபக்தி வழிபாடு இல்லை, நம்ம பிரேம பக்தி. Alright? So, he said, who does not develop love, காதலிக்கல, காதல் உருவாகலே நிச்சயம் கிருஷ்ணா மேல. For the supreme personality Godhead Vasudeva should be understood simply spoiling is அவன் வாழ்க்கையே ஒரு தண்ட வாழ்க்கை. யார் ஒருத்தர் கிருஷ்ணர்கிட்ட அந்த அன்பு, அந்த ஏக்கம், அந்த காதல வளர்க்கலையோ அவன் வாழ்றதே ஒரு தண்ட வாழ்க்கைன்னு சொல்றாங்க. தண்டத்துலதான் வாழ்றான். எத்தனை பேர் சுத்தி இருந்து பாக்குறோம், எவ்வளவு சொந்த பந்தங்க கூட பிறந்தவங்க எல்லாம் தண்டத்துலதான் வாழ்றாங்க. ஆனா சூழ்நிலை நம்ம வந்து கொஞ்சம் இப்படி இருக்கு, நம்ம எவ்வளவு கொடுத்து வச்சிருக்கணும். அவங்கள பத்தி யோசிக்க வேணாம், அவங்கள பத்தி நம்ம திருத்த முடியாது. we simply pray to Krishna, kindly Krishna, எனக்கு இந்த கொடுத்த இந்த காதல், இந்த மயக்கத்தை அவங்களுக்கு கூட. ஏன் அவங்க எனக்கு ரொம்ப நெருங்கியவங்க, எனக்கு வந்து ஏதாச்சும் நல்லது செஞ்சேன்னா, நான் கூட சமைச்சேன்னா 4 பேர்கிட்ட பரிமாறுவோம். ரைட்? we share with 4 people. if I get something, இப்ப என் மரத்துல ஒரு 110 மாங்காய் காய்ச்சிச்சுன்னா எல்லாத்தையும் நான் சாப்பிட போறது இல்லை. அங்க 2 இங்க 2 கொடுப்போம். அதே போல எனக்கு இந்த நல்ல ஒரு வரத்தை கிடைச்சு கொடுத்திருக்கேன். ஏதோ ஒரு புண்ணியத்தை செஞ்சுட்டேன், எனக்கு இந்த அருமையான இந்த வரத்தை கொடுத்துட்டேன் கிருஷ்ணா. இத கொஞ்ச நாச்சும் அவர்கிட்ட கூட இல்ல இவங்கிட்ட கூட சொல்லி நம்ம வேண்டிக்க தான் முடியும். So we pray that all our family members, our friends, one day become a devotee. Okay, so I think we better stop here because my sneezing become bad again. மூக்கு நல்லா அடிச்சிக்கிச்சு. So we continue tomorrow. ஏதாச்சும் கேள்வி இருக்கா? Any question? Any questions? Please confirm. Yes, yes, சொல்லுங்க மாதாஜி.
பிரபு எனக்கு ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்கு, நான் ஒரு ரியலைசேஷனும் ஷேர் பண்ணலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன் பிரபு. எனக்கு ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்கு, அப்புறம் நான் ஒரு ரியலைசேஷன் ஷேர் பண்ணலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
எஸ் 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 ப்ளீஸ் ப்ளீஸ் ப்ளீஸ்.
என்னன்னா பிரபு, நான் முதல்ல என்னோட ரியலைசேஷன் ஷேர் பண்றேன். நான் இப்ப ரீசென்ட்லி வந்து வைஷ்ணவி ரிட்ரீட் செஞ்சிருந்தாங்க. செஞ்சிருந்தாங்க. ஸோ நானே என் டாக்டர் போயிருந்தோம். அங்க போயிட்டு நிறைய பியூர் டிவோட்டிஸ், ப்ரூபா டிசைபிள்ஸ், மாதாஜிஸ் எல்லாம் வந்திருந்தாங்க. அவங்க கூட அசோசியேட் பண்றதுக்கு எங்களுக்கு சான்ஸ் கிடைச்சிச்சு. சர்வ் பண்றதுக்கு கொஞ்சம் சான்ஸ் கிடைச்சிச்சு. நிறைய நாலேஜ், சம் ரியலைசேஷன்லாம் வி கெட் ஃப்ரம் த ப்ரோக்ராம்ல பிரபு. அப்புறம் அந்த ப்ரோக்ராம்ல ஹோல் த்ரூ அவுட் த ப்ரோக்ராம்ல வந்து ரொம்ப இன்டென்ஸா ஃபீல் பண்ணி, ஸ்பிரிச்சுவலி ரொம்ப அப்லிஃப்டடா ஃபீல் பண்ணி, ரொம்ப ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் என்வாயரன்மெண்ட் ரொம்ப நல்லா இருந்துச்சு, சந்தோஷமா இருந்துச்சு. அப்ப அந்த ப்ரோக்ராம் முடியறப்ப எங்களுக்கு ரொம்ப மனசு கவலையாகி அழுவுற மாதிரிலாம் ஆயிடுச்சு. ஸோ அது வேற வழியில முடிஞ்சா வந்துதானே ஆகணும். வந்துட்டு பிற்பாடு ஒரு 2-3 வீக்ஸ் வந்து அதே ஞாபகமாவே இருந்துச்சு. நம்ம ப்ரோக்ராம் மகாராஜ்லாம் மாதாஜி பார்த்தோம், அந்த ப்ரோக்ராம்லாம் என்னென்ன சொல்லி கொடுத்தாங்க, அந்த நாலேஜ் வந்து ரீகால் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ ஸ்லோலி வந்து கொஞ்ச நாள் ஆக ஆக அது கொஞ்சம் மறக்க ஆரம்பிச்சேன். அது கொஞ்சம் மறக்க ஆரம்பிக்கவும் நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி தான் அந்த லவ் சொன்னீங்களே, மெட்டீரியல் லவ் பத்தி சொன்னீங்களே. ஸோ அந்த லவ் நான் மறந்தேனாக்கா இந்த இந்த மெட்டீரியல் வேர்ல்ட் எவ்வளவு கொடூரமானது எனக்கு தெரிய ஆரம்பிச்சிச்சு. ஐயோ, நம்ம அந்த அந்த இன்பமான விஷயம் மறையிற மாதிரி இருந்துச்சுனாக்கா இந்த கசப்பான விஷயம் நம்மளுக்கு தெரியுது. இந்த மெட்டீரியல் எவ்வளவு மோசமா இருக்குன்னு நம்மளுக்கு தெரியுது. ஸோ நான் என்ன பண்ணேனாக்கா, ஐ கீப் மை செல்ஃப் பிஸி இன் ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் லைஃப். கிளாஸ் நிறைய கேட்டுக்கிட்டு, புக்ஸ் படிச்சுக்கிட்டு, அந்த மொமெண்டம்ல இருக்கணும்ட்டு நான் வந்து அலர்ட் ஆகிக்கிட்டேன் நானு. ஸோ இதை விட்டுறக்கூடாது, இன்னும் சீரியஸா இருக்கணும்ட்டு. ஸோ நான் இது பண்ணிட்டேன் பிரபு. நீங்க இப்ப சொன்னீங்களே இந்த லவ் மயக்கத்திலேயே இருக்கணும்னா, அந்த மயக்கத்திலேயே உண்மையாவே நீங்க சொன்னது நான் 100% நான் அக்ரி பண்ணிக்கிறேன் பிரபு. அதுல இல்லைனாக்கா கஷ்டமா இருக்கும் பிரபு. ரொம்ப இந்த மெட்டீரியலோட க்ரூவல்ட்டி நம்மளுக்கு எப்படி நம்மளுக்கு உண்மையா ஃபீல் பண்ணுது பிரபு. ஐ ரியலி கோன் த்ரூ தட் ஃபியூ மந்த்ஸ் அகோ.
Nice. Very nice. So what's your question, Mataji?
என்னோட கொஸ்டின் பிரபு, இப்ப நீங்க சொன்னீங்களே ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல் லைஃப் வந்து ஒருத்தவங்க வந்து நல்லா செய்யல, அதுக்குள்ளார இறந்துட்டாங்க. பூர்த்தியா ஆவரங்கட்டி அவங்க இறந்து போயிட்டாங்க, அடிபட்டு இறந்துட்டாங்க, சீக்கு இறந்துட்டாங்க. ஸோ அவங்க நெக்ஸ்ட் லைஃப்ல வந்து கிருஷ்ணா வந்து அவங்களுக்கு லாஸ் இல்லை, அவங்க திருப்பி கண்டினியூ பண்ணுவாங்கன்னு சொல்லிட்டாங்க. வாட் ஆர் பீப்புள் ஹூ commit suicide?
Good question. Okay, say like for instance, the suicidal commit suicide. If he's a non-devotee, he will commit suicide. He will be a ghost. Ana avare bhaktar anda he become a brahma rakshasa, especially when he's a brahmin initiated. Right? So இப்போ ஒரு உதாரணம், இப்போ வந்து ஒரு 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 பாலகன் வயசு வந்து ஒரு 25 வயசுன்னு வச்சுக்கோமே, அவனுக்கு கொடுத்த கோட்டா இந்த மனித உடல்ல வந்து 75ன்னு வச்சுப்போம். he supposed to live in this body for 75 years. ஆனா அல்ப வயசுல 25லயே அவன் தற்கொலை பண்ணிக்கிட்டான். 50 வருஷத்துக்கு அவன் பேயா சுத்துவான். ஓகே, 50 வருஷத்துக்கு ஆவியா இருப்பான். ஆவி அந்த நேரத்துல என்ன ஆகும்னா, இந்த தந்திரவாதிகள் இருக்காங்களா, இந்த மந்திர பொம்மோ, இவனுங்க என்ன பண்ணுவானுங்க, இந்த இடத்துல இந்த ஆவியை புடிச்சு கொடூரப்படுத்துறது. இந்த ஆவியை புடிச்சு கொடுமைப்படுத்துறது, போத்தல்ல போட்டு அடிச்சு. ஏன்னா எல்லாமே இருக்கும், பசி இருக்கும், எல்லா உணர்வும் இருக்கும், ஆனா உடல் தான் இருக்காது. சோ அதை கொடுமைப்படுத்திட்டு அப்புறம் அதுகிட்ட வந்து பேரம் பேசுறது. ஓகே, இப்ப நான் வந்து உனக்கு கொடுக்குறேன், உனக்கு வாய்ப்பு கொடுக்குறேன், இவனை போய் தாக்கு. அப்ப அந்த ஆவியை வச்சுதான் செய்வேன் பண்றது, அந்த மாதிரி செய்யறது, இந்த மாதிரி செய்யறது. சரியா? சோ அது முடிச்சோன்னே, அந்த 75 வயசு அந்த காலம் முடிஞ்சோடனே என்ன ஆயிரும், ஆவியெல்லாம் முடிஞ்சு அது வந்து அதோட அதோட ஆயுள் முடிஞ்சிருச்சு. ஆனா தண்டனையா 7 ஜென்மத்துக்கு அதுக்கு வந்து சூஷ்ம உடல்ல தான் வாழும். அதுக்கு வந்து இந்த மனித உடல் கிடைக்காது. இந்த ஆவி உடல்ல தான் வாழும் 7 ஜென்மத்துக்கு. ஒரு ஜென்மம் 100 வருஷம் வச்சுக்கினா, நெக்ஸ்ட் 700 இயர்ஸ் ஹி வில் கோ த்ரூ லைஃப், ஹி வில் பார்ன் அமாங் த கோஸ்ட். ஓகே மாதாஜி? சோ அந்த மாரி. ஆனா அவன் பக்தி செஞ்சிருக்கான். ஹி ஹேவ் டன் பக்தி. அப்ப அந்த பக்தி செஞ்ச வாசி கன்டின்யூ ஒன்லி ஆஃப்டர் த 7th பர்த். யூ காட் இட்?
திருப்பி சொல்லுங்க பிரபு. கடைசியா சொன்னது.
இந்த பக்தி வந்துட்டு ஆனா பக்தி நல்லா செஞ்சிருக்கான்னு வச்சுக்கோமே, பையன் நல்லா நல்லா பக்தியா இருந்திருக்காங்க. He will continue his bhakti after he complete his suffering, his punishment.
ஸோ 7 இது வந்து சப்டல் பாடியில இருக்குறது அது கன்ஃபார்ம் தான். மாற்றமே இல்ல டிவோட்டியா இருந்தா கூட.
அ
7 பிறவிக்கு வந்து சப்டல் பாடியில தான் சுத்தணும். அது வந்து எந்த மாற்றமும் இல்ல. ஈவன் தோ ஹி இஸ் டிவோட்டி.
கரெக்ட். ஆனா என்ன ஒரு அட்வான்டேஜ்னா, he will stay among the devotee community. இப்ப கோயில் பக்கத்துல ஒரு மரம் இருக்கு. அந்த மரத்துல போய் உட்கார்ந்துக்கிறது. அந்த 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 மாரி இல்ல. சோ he will still there like ஜட பரத் இருக்காருல்ல. அவர் வந்து என்னாச்சு? மான பார்த்து மான்ல மயங்கி மறுபிறவி மான எடுத்துட்டார். ஆனா எங்க பொறந்தாரு? எங்க இருந்தாரு? அந்த 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 ஆசிரமம் பக்கத்திலேயே தானே இருந்தாரு. He didn't go far away. He didn't born in Africa or something like that.
ஓகே, ஓகே பிரபு.
சோ அந்த மாரி. அப்ப நான் வந்து இது வந்து இப்ப ஒரு உதாரணம். இப்ப நான் படிச்ச ஸ்கூல் ஏசியா ஸ்கூல்ல வந்து ஈப்போல வந்துட்டு இட்ஸ் வெரி ஹாண்டட். ஏன்னா அந்த டைம்ல வந்து ஜப்பான்காரன் வந்து எல்லாத்தையும் கழுத்த சீவுறது, டார்ச்சர் சேம்பர். ரைட்? சோ அந்த டைம்ல வந்து தே ஆல் டெல்லிங் தேர்ஸ் எ கோஸ்ட் தேர், சரியான சேட்ட கிட்ட எங்க அப்பாலாம் பார்த்திருக்காங்க. மை ஃபாதர் ஆல்சோ ஸ்டடிட் தேர். ஆனா நான் ஸ்கூலுக்கு போகும்போது இட்ஸ் ஆல்ரெடி 70 இப்ப பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, த ஸ்கூல் இஸ் டோட்டலி தேர்ஸ் நோ ஹாண்டிங் இந்த மாரி கதையெல்லாம் கேள்விப்படுறது இல்ல. ஏன்? பிகாஸ் அங்க இருக்கிற ஆத்மா வந்து இப்ப இதோட வந்து 80, 85 வயசு இருக்கிற ஆத்மாக்கு வந்து அந்த டைம்ல முடிஞ்சிருக்கும். சோ தே ஹேவ் ஆல்ரெடி லெஃப்ட். சில பேர் சொல்றாங்க 100 வருஷம், 200 வருஷம் இல்ல வீடு வந்து பேய் இருக்கும்னு. ஆக்சுவலி அந்த இடத்த தற்கொலை யார் பண்ணியிருந்தாலும், அது ஒரு குறுகிய காலகட்டம். அந்த காலகட்டம் முடிஞ்சோனே அந்த ஹவுஸ் இஸ் கிளீன். பட் திஸ் ஒன் ஐ ரெட் சம்வேர்ல பட் ஐம் நாட் ஷூர். பட் சோ ஃபார் தட்ஸ் வாட் இஸ் ஹேப்பனிங்ல. அதனால தான் சூசைடல் இஸ் நாட் அ குட் திங். இட்ஸ் நாட் அ வைஸ் ஐடியா. சரி, இப்ப ஒரு கார் திடீர்னு வந்து ஆக்சிடென்ட்ல இறந்துட்டாங்கன்னு வச்சுக்கோமே. டைட் இன் ஆக்சிடென்ட். ஆக்சிடென்ட்ல இறந்துட்டு என்ன ஆகுறது? ரைட். ஆக்சிடென்ட்ல இறந்தாங்கன்னா, இப்ப கொடூரமான சாவுன்னு வச்சுக்கோமே. நோய், கொடூரமான நோய், ஒரு பயங்கரமான அந்த கேன்சர், ஹார்ட் பயங்கரமா நோய் வந்து, இல்ல ஆக்சிடென்டல் டெத். இது ப்ரோபாட் சேட் இன் த பெர்பட். ஐ கான்ட் ரிகால் வேர். ஹி சேட் ஃபார் தோஸ் ஹூ நீட் டு கிளியர் த கர்மா இன்ஸ்டன்ட்லி. அவன் வாழ்க்கையில பயங்கர கர்மா இருக்குன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. ரொம்ப கர்மா இருக்கு. ரைட்? மேபி ஐ கோனா டேக் மெனி பர்த் டு கிளியர் தட் கர்மா. சோ அந்த கர்மா உடனே கிளியர் பண்றதுக்காக they will go and meet an horrible accident, they die horribly. அந்த பிக் சங்க் ஆஃப் கர்மா டன். ஒரு 3 பிறவி கஷ்டப்படுறதுக்கு ஒரே சம்பவத்துல அந்த கர்மா முடிஞ்சுச்சு. ஆனா அந்த சாவு வந்து கொடூரமான சாவா இருக்கும். So அந்த மாரி. So that's what I have read in Prabhupada. That means they say accident. It is a situation where your karma, your severe karma has to be cleaned immediately. இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சிச்சுவேஷன் நடக்கும். அப்ப அது முடிச்சோடனே he will continue as a devotee with lesser effect and go back home back to God.
தேங்க்
Okay?
யூ பிரபு. தேங்க் யூ பிரபு. நல்லா புரிஞ்சிச்சு. தேங்க் யூ சோ மச்.
வேற ஏதாச்சும் கேள்வி இருக்கா? ஓகே, பை த வே இது வந்து எந்த பேஜ்ல இருக்கு மஜித்? அந்த மாதாஜி can you help me on that? Please confirm also 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam verse 11. 11th canto, I can't find it. Because I need in the 11th canto 34. 32. Which page? The statement supported in Srimad Bhagavatam. This statement supported in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Page 50 பிரபு.
Page
50.
50.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see. Oh,
Tegel.
oh, no wonder I'm not wearing my reading glasses. 50, yeah? This is confirmed. Okay, this is confirmed. This is confirmed. 50. In the fifth canto, Srimad Bhagavatam, Rishabhadev. Oh, okay. This, okay. Great, great, great. All right. So, okay, thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry, I need to exit early because these 4 days I've been staying almost what 16 hours in the hospital, and this thing deprived of sleep. Other patch around the right. So we meet again tomorrow. Right. Till then, have a beautiful day. Happy Guru Purnima, Guru Purnima, and at the same time, today also is a disappearance day of Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, one of Prabhupada's confidential disciple. So on this day, let's have a life full of dedication. We pray to Krishna, pray to Srila Prabhupada, pray to our spiritual master. By their causeless mercy, we are here today discussing this subject. Till then, have a beautiful day. Vancha kalpaturubhishcha, kripa sindhubhyevacha, aditanam pavinibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. See you again tomorrow at 9:50. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Jiva. Bye. Take care.
Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Bol.